Scientists have long collected samples of ice from glaciers and ice sheets. Within them are frozen records from the past, which can help show how our climate has changed and how to best prepare for the future. The problem is that they're melting at a much faster rate than expected, and scientists are now racing to collect them. This team of international scientists attempted to gather ice cores from the Grand Combin Glacier high on the Swiss-Italian border for a United Nations-backed climate monitoring effort. In 2018, they scouted a well-preserved site which could have held the oldest glaciers to date. But by the time they returned with a full drilling setup 2 years later, the ice had vanished. The samples that the scientist-led group Ice Memory managed to retrieve are held in storage facilities like this one at the Byrd Polar and Climate Research Center in Ohio State University, where glaciologist Lonnie Thompson works.
Here, this freezer at minus 30 degrees C, we have an archive.
In the center's cold workroom, researchers cut samples into smaller pieces that can be taken to the lab for further analysis. Beyond greenhouse gases, scientists say they may be able to use ice cores to study the DNA of ancient bacteria and viruses that could re-emerge as the world warms.
Glaciers and ice cores are probably one of our best archives of our past because they record not only the climate history, things like temperature through the stable isotopes that make up the water of the ice. And unfortunately with ice, right now, especially mountain glaciers are at risk, and those records will disappear.
Almost all of the world's glaciers are shrinking, according to the United Nations. One study published in April in the science journal Nature found that glaciers lost an average of 298 gigatons of ice a year from 2015. To put that into perspective, 1 gigaton of ice could fill Central Park in New York and stand over 1,000 feet high. In order to tackle this, scientists who harvest ice cores are having to expand storage capacity, accelerate their missions, and rethink where to target next. Some say they're running out of time, and in other cases, it's already too late.
Well, it's become a real challenge to find those places where you have a largely unaltered history preserved in the ice. So a lot of the sites that we drilled earlier in my career, the glaciers are now gone. And unfortunately, most of the sites that we've drilled will disappear in the next 50 or so years.